Well, it's that time of year again, time for the Rhinebeck Fiber Festival. It's a big festival for us. This is a really exciting time of the year. This is when I get to interact with people the most face to face. I always equate it to how it felt like when it was Christmas time as a kid. So what I thought I would do, I wanted to show you, what's involved in preparing for the Rhinebeck Fiber Festival. I also thought that it might be a good time, since I've been having videos up on YouTube for a couple years, to sort of stop, pause, and just do a formal introduction, because they've added a few new visitors that come on and view the videos and stuff. So I wanted to take a few seconds to introduce myself and what I'm about here and what this channel is all about. My name is Jennifer Johnson. The name of the farm is Whispering Pines Farm, and we started with the sheep. We raise a beautiful flock of Shetland sheep, and we're breeding for very soft, crimpy fiber. We're in western New York, and which we're like 40 minutes east of Niagara Falls. So we decided to raise Shetland sheep when our boys were really young, and the reason we decided to do that was we liked the size. We also liked the fact that they come in such a wide variety of patterns and colors. So you can run the gamut from white to black, gray, fawn, and then of course there's all sorts of patterns and spotting, and it's just a really fun breed. So we were up to about 75 sheep in the flock right now, and the boys are grown and flown the nest. So it's pretty much just Rich and I. Rich is my husband, and we work the farm and care for the sheep. Rich also has a full-time job. I'm a full-time farmer, which is pretty exciting. About 3 years ago, I left my job. I was asked to leave my job as a director of sales and marketing. And at that point, I just decided that I wanted to do this all my life, be a farmer, and so I'm living the dream. All right, so that's a quick introduction about me and the breed of sheep that we raise. So this channel is all about what it's like to live on a farm raising sheep for their wool. And so there's going to be videos, there's going to be farm videos, there's going to be sheep videos, there's going to be, fiber videos, because I'm also a hand spinner and a knitter and a crocheter, a little bit of crochet. And also, I am an authorized Majacraft dealer. So Majacraft is a spinning wheel manufacturer. They also make fiber preparation equipment. They're located in New Zealand. And I decided a few years ago to become an authorized dealer because 20 years ago, my first wheel was a Majacraft wheel. It was called the Majacraft Rose. And would bring that to fiber festivals with me. So I've been doing fiber festivals for years. But I would bring the rose with me so I could demonstrate spinning our sheep's wool at the festivals. And many people repeatedly would ask me, do you sell these wheels? And finally it clicked, why don't I sell these wheels? I love the brand. The quality is amazing. Their service is terrific. They stand behind me. So 3 years ago, I believe, I established the dealership. I stock all the wheels. I have all the carting equipment in inventory. And my commitment is to hold inventory of all the wheels, the spares, the accessories, so that when you're ready to tackle a new project and you need new tools, you don't have to wait. Because I think when the inspiration strikes, you should be able to get right at it. Okay, so back to the farm. So I raise the sheep for their wool. They're actually bred for wool, so this is not a meat breed. I really focus all of my effort on creating beautiful wool for hand spinners. And there, I've said it. I mean, that's really what it's about. So we shear in the spring, and I'll select the best fleeces in the springtime to offer to hand spinners as raw fleeces, because there is a group of hand spinners that really prefer that method to receive their fiber. So I do a fleece auction in April, May, depending on how quickly I can get through everything. Then I'll select the fleeces that I want to process myself, and I will either hand spin those into yarn, or I'll make beautiful hand processed bats. Here's an example of one. Just dropped it on the floor. 1 ounce bats. So this is the handmade wool that I offer. And then I also will collect skirtings, rams fleeces, fleeces from older ewes. And those I'll send out to the mill, and I am now using Zeilingers pretty much exclusively. And at the mill, I'll have the wool converted into comb top. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But anyway, so mill processed fiber is also something that I offer from our flock of soft Shetland sheep. In addition to my YouTube channel, which here you are, welcome, and thank you for stopping by, I also have some other social media platforms where I'm actively posting photos of, all the imagery related to raising sheep for their wool. And I have an Instagram. I'm on Ravelry pretty regularly. I have a profile. I actually have a group for the farm. It's not super active, but it's there. Facebook. I have a Facebook page for the farm. And I tried to touch a lot of different media because I know that people have their preferences with how they like to consume content about farms and farming. So I do offer that. I want to talk a little bit about Rhinebeck. So the actual formal name of the festival is the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival. And I've also seen it called the Dutchess County Sheep and Wool Festival, so it's a little bit confusing. But I think in all the logos and everything, it's the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival. But everybody calls it Rhinebeck because it takes place in the village of Rhinebeck. So they got some branding issues, I guess. But anyways, it's an enormous show. I've been going to it for years. I want to say the first year I just went, and maybe I brought a fleece or two to enter into the fleece show and sale. And then I brought a few sheep one year. Didn't really care for that. I'm not really interested in showing livestock. Again, most of my energy is focused on creating wool for hand spinners and trying to get it to them as quick as I can. So the livestock show is kind of a distraction, so I don't really get into that. But I love to go through the sheep barn at the festival. They have at least, I think there's 2 big barns, all sorts of shows, all kinds. They got an auction. There's stuff happening all the time in the sheep barns. So then you've got all your vendor booths. I've seen numbers ranging from 300 to 450 as far as how many vendors are there. I did just pop on their site today and I saw that they're not going to limit ticket sales. So last year they limited ticket sales to, I want to say, was it 10,000 a day or 20,000 a day? I can't remember. But I do know for sure that when it's going full, so it must have been 10,000 a day. When it's going in full, it's 20,000 or more. And I just saw a press release that they said they were expecting 30,000 people to come into the town. But a lot of those people will come both days because it's a 2-day event. So they got vendors. Then they have a fleece show and sale, which is enormous. And it's a really great opportunity to just go and look and see all the different breeds that are there. Really very fun. I used to do that, but now all my fleeces that I would normally show have already been handed off to hand spinners in the spring, so that I don't participate in either. Because again, it's not in line with my goal. So there's also book signing. So there's a whole hall full of authors and pattern writers and stuff. All the big names, a lot of celebrities in our little world are going to be there. Demonstrations, classes, tons of classes. You can sign up for those on the website. And then there's just a bunch of other stuff. It's a really fun barn of breeds, it's called. So all the breed associations have, not all, but many breed associations all set up tables in this one barn, and you can go through and learn more about breeds. It's awesome. Food vending is pretty great. And it's extremely difficult to get into. It's a juried show, which means it's not first come, first served as far as when you put your application in. They actually review the applications, and depending on what their goals are, they'll select the vendors based on how the vendors have described themselves in their application. So I got in, it was the last year I was working full-time in the office. I had been applying for the festival for probably 10 years. So I would fill out my application every March, give them my $20 application fee. I always called that my donation to the Rhinebeck Fiber Festival Fund. And then get a very, very cordial letter of, declining my application. So finally I got in. So it was the first year I believe it was 2019. And then the next year was COVID, so it was a virtual event. And then last year I was a live vendor. Had a booth there, physical. And then, so they automatically invite you back every year if you vended last year and you followed all the rules. So you can't break down your booth early or, You can't sublet your booth. I mean, there's all sorts of rules and stuff, but as long as you follow the rules, you're pretty much guaranteed a spot. So I'm going to be in Building C, Booth 8, which is the same spot that I had last year, same booth size. And I'm going to talk a little bit later about all the stuff that I'm going to have with me at the show, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview of Rhinebeck. It's enormous. So, and Rhinebeck is we actually stay in Kingston, so it's on the Hudson River. Our hotel is in Kingston, so we'll cross the bridge and then get to the festival each day. We're renting a van this year, so I got to pick up the van on Thursday, and it's quite close to our house, which is nice. I rented a van because I'm going to be bringing a lot of new items, like boxed items, so the wheels, drum carting equipment, and I'm going to try and bring a representative of all the accessories, all the fiber prep tools and everything. And I just don't have enough room for all the demo wheels and the demo carter, plus all the new boxed items, so that if you wanted to take something home with you that day of the show, I'm trying to have as much as I can. So I rented the van, so I'm going to pick that up on Thursday, pack up the van, and then Friday morning we're going to feed the sheep, let the sheep out, and then head out to the show, hopefully by around 8:30. Then set up Friday night, and then the show starts Saturday morning at 10. I did want to mention one thing, and that is I'm going to be slow to fulfill orders. If you place an order online with me, hopefully you see this video, I don't know. But anyways, if you're somebody that's regular and orders online, if you place an order online this weekend, I won't be able to fulfill probably until Tuesday, because likely I'll still be driving home Monday. So Sunday night we leave the festival. We drive for as long as we can, but we're usually so fried and exhausted that we usually only make it like 3 hours. Plus that we're driving in the dark and we're tired. So we normally will stop and spend the night somewhere, get some rest, and then get up early, get home. So that'll be Monday, and the van is going to be chaos, so I'm not going to really be able to get through everything and start shipping until Tuesday. I do want to just kind of go through, so some of the stuff to prepare for Rhinebeck. The biggest thing that I think that stresses me out, to be honest with you, is just leaving the sheep for that much time. Rich and I don't take vacations. We rarely, if we do get away, it's normally just for one night. We'll go away, for like a little quick getaway somewhere close by. So this is it's crazy because it's only 2 days, but it's stressful. So what we try and do is to plan to make it as easy as possible for the caretaker, who this year is our son Andrew. Thank goodness, we're blessed to have him living with us. So he's going to be taking care of the animals. So we try and do the best we can to make it as easy as possible. So we do things like, we've got one paddock of 3 rams. I've been moving them in a crate with a little, temporary fencing so that they can sort of eat fresh grass each day. We're going to put them on a pasture so that Andrew doesn't have to feed them or water them. They'll get enough moisture from the grass. And that's the same thing with our yearling rams. They're going to be on a rich pasture. The ewes, all he has to do is let them out morning and night. And then there's a movable pen of ram lambs that I move every day, but I'm not going to ask him to do that because it's just something I like to do. And so I'm just going to have him throw hay into those guys, and they will probably need one refill of water. So that whole planning has to take place. And Andrew does a really good job, and he likes to do it. So thank goodness for that. It requires a lot of thought and a lot of work, but I can't think of a more exciting time of year than this. I wish I could describe how it feels. It feels it's so exciting. Just the trip down. First of all, it's a beautiful spot in New York State, and it's a nice road trip for me and Rich to drive down there. That's really fun. Getting there, setting up my booth, being able to handle all of my stuff, all my wool. I love to do that, so that's exciting. But the people, at Rhinebeck, that's the festival where I'll see most of the people that I do social media with, so I don't really get to see face to face. So seeing, people that I've been back and forthing with on social media for the past 2 years, and then getting to put a face to the name of newer people that I just recently started to, contact and communicate with and stuff. That is, I can't even express how much fun and exciting that is. So, and then at the show, you know, there's just so many people. There's such a variety of people from all over the place. Totally different from the local shows that I do. And I really enjoy, you know, if somebody comes up and is just kind of curious about the drop spindle, it's really fun to sort of just like, I feel like the spider and the fly song. I don't know if you know that one, but just, you know, bringing them in and giving them a quick lesson. And, you know, those of them that take to it right away are so excited. And those of them that, you know, I struggle a little bit, I try to explain to them, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. You got to practice. So anyway, very exciting. Just, I'm so happy right now. So I've got some stuff I want to show you. Some things I wanted to, I don't know, just ideas and stuff. So first thing I'm going to do, I've made some, you know, one thing that's really important with booths I'm learning is signage. So, and it's, the thing is, no matter how good your signage is, you still have to explain things to people. But, you know, I get a lot of the same questions over and over, and I do see people reading my signs, so I'm really trying to get better at that. So the first sign I have here made up is going to be for the fiber. So now this year I'm going to have comb top as well as roving. So I made a sign that gives you the pricing, a little picture of the flock. This is a QR code that if you scan it, it takes you to the web page where I have those, and then just a quick description of what is the difference between comb top and roving. So comb top is the product that I sold last year. All the fibers are aligned. It actually has an additional step. So you take roving and you put it through combs, and that's how you get comb top. And this was on an interview I did with April at Zeilinger's, which I'll put the link right here if you're interested in seeing that video. So this year I decided to add roving for a couple of reasons. Number one is the prices all went up and roving is a little bit less expensive. And the second reason is I do think that there are applications for roving. You know, the thing with roving is sometimes it has a little bit more neps in it, especially when you're making it from super fine fibers. But it's really nice for using it with long draw and felting. It's really good for felting. So I figured I would meet the maximum or the minimum for comb top, which was 10 pounds inbound, and then whatever was left over I was going to turn into roving. So I've got that. And to go along with that, I have these sheets. Now this was a lesson learned from last year, because last year I had another helper. It wasn't Rich, it was my niece. And when people would buy fiber, she and I had like hand signals, and we were like screaming at each other across the booth as far as like how much somebody was buying, how many ounces or whatever. So this year I made this little order form so I can hand this to people and they can kind of note exactly how much they want. And then I can give this to them. They can give it to Rich, and when it's time for them to check out, they can just work off of this order form. It tells you what the color is, the type of the prep, and what the price is. So all my roving is going to be $6 an ounce. My brown-based top is $7, and my gray, black, and white is $8 an ounce. And I raised it $1 from last year, which it's not going to cover the price increase that I got from the mill. So I just wanted to make sure, I didn't want to go too crazy with it as far as the pricing. I wanted to make that fair. So that's that. Okay, so that's the comb top and the mill processed fiber. I also so I have these little signs that I put with all the big equipment. And I just made this one for the drum carter because I didn't have a drum carter sign last year. I do get a lot of questions about the drum carter, and I'm due to do a I'm due to do a playlist on the drum carters. There's a lot of information as it relates to the Fusion engine drum carter, and I haven't done them yet because I haven't had them in inventory, but I'm finally getting a bunch of them in stock, so I will do that. I will commit to that. After the festival, possibly after the holidays, I'll get that made. And then I made a nice little sign for the quilt batting because I don't have any signage for the quilt bat, so I figured this might help to get some information out to people about that. I did create new name badges. Normally I'll just like write on the back of a business card and then shove it in these little sleeves, but I made some nice ones, so that's fun. And then I'm doing something a little different this year in the booth. And this is the sign for that. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'll laminate this and I'll attach it to my GoPro. And essentially it's going to be, if you want to help me, grab my GoPro camera and take some footage of me, my booth, yourself, your friends, or whatever. And then I'll take that and use it for footage. So the reason I decided to do this, the inspiration was that I never remembered to video anything. And so I thought this would be a fun way to get some footage and share what it's like to be at the Rhinebeck Fiber Festival. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. All right, so now I want to show, oh, this is the other thing too. I'm doing a drawing. I did this, these are the entries from the Western New York Festival. I didn't get very many, so I'm going to combine this with the Rhinebeck Festival. So if you try a wheel, you can put your name on this card with some way for me to contact you, and I will make a drawing after I get back home from the festival, and whoever I pick gets $50 credit towards any Majacraft item on our shop. So I'll have that there. But you can only enter that if you try a wheel. I'm going to be picking up the comb top and the roving at the event. So Zillinger attends the show. So I'll be meeting up with them probably Friday to pick up my, I call them sumo wrestler sized bags of wool. They're enormous. You'll see when I do next week's video. So I will have that there. Then I'm going to have some hand spun. And I just finished 3 skeins that I wanted to show you. These are what I typically do. This is my traditional, what I used to always do solely, and that is the worsted weight. And these are from, they smell pretty soapy. You may want to wash them again. But these are from a fleece that I bought. So I don't have a photograph of the ewe, so it's going to be different. I don't have the picture of her. And so anyway, so there's 3 skeins here. I still have to mark these, put the barcode on them, and get them in the store. So one of them is a gradient, and the other 2 are just a really pretty variegated gray. I really love gray. And these are flicked, hand washed, and then I spin them on my rows. And this is the gradient one. Oh, these are so cool. They're still a little bit damp. I just ripped them off of the drying rack because I wanted to show them to you guys before. So I'll finish drying these tonight, then I'll probably mark them tomorrow. And then I made, so I have some fawn and brown in the shop, but I already showed that in another video. So this is just new stuff I've just made in the last week. And these are, so I have this new product I make, it's called the Bumbly yarn, and it's a textured yarn where I'm spinning directly from the lock. And I used an orange tie on this one just because I couldn't find any other ties. It's just very textured. I have a hat pattern that I put on the label for these. It's really soft. These hats are amazing, very, very warm. And these are both from Mrs. Hughes. Those are really nice. Okay, and on the carding table right now, I'm working on another gray fleece, which I didn't have this is really unusual. I didn't have an index card in the bag for this one. I think it might be Ivy, who is a ewe I sold to a local farm, and I bought her fleece back from them. And so it was a big, big fleece. I think I'm up to like 15 of these bats, different shades. Very soft. Really nice staple length. So I'll have these in the booth as well. So that's gonna be really great. I feel pretty good about that. I'm cutting myself off. Maybe I'll let myself do a little tomorrow. Depends on how I do with this video. But you know, the wool cave I'm gonna shut down. Probably it'll have to get shut down like Wednesday at noon at least, because I still have to make all the labels and everything. This whole, getting ready for Rhinebeck has really disrupted my routine. So you maybe noticed I didn't do a good of work last Sunday. Very probably, well, definitely will not do a good of work vlog this coming Sunday. And for anybody that's new to the channel, when I say good of work, I do a weekly vlog where I give you information and share content about what's been going on in the last week or so. So it can cover a ton of different things. It's a particularly fun channel to watch though during lambing season with all the lambs and everything. You can go back and look at last year's lambing videos. They're really very uplifting. I will be creating another video when I get home of just the experience at Rhinebeck. And Rich is going to be taking his camera, so hopefully we'll get some nice still shots as well. I can do a nice slideshow, I hope. Rhinebeck is always the third weekend in October. So it's the 15th and the 16th this year, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday it's 9 to 5, which is the 15th of October. And then Sunday it goes from 9 to 4, which is actually really nice because for vendors that are like us, have a drive, you get a little bit of a head start, but anyway. So that's enough of me blabbering on. I just, wanted to let you know what I'm doing here, and everything's great. We're doing fine, and don't worry because you're not going to see a video come up on Sunday. And like I said, again, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. It's awesome to have you here, and hopefully you can stick with us and maybe start enjoying some of the other content that we produce about raising sheep for their wool.